Saturn's calm, it's a beautiful, deadly trap. You think Saturn is calm? Well, you are very wrong. From our quiet corner of the universe, we look up. We see a point of light, a distant, steady gleam in the velvet black of space. Through a telescope, that point of light transforms. It becomes a perfect sphere. It is surrounded by a halo of rings. It looks like a jewel placed carefully on a dark cloth. This is Saturn, the planet we have come to see as a symbol of peace and quiet beauty, a serene giant floating silently in the cosmos. But this image, this idea we hold in our minds, is a beautiful lie. It hides a truth that is far more violent and far more terrifying. The distance between us and Saturn is vast. It is so great that it smooths over all the chaos. Light travels for over an hour to bring us its picture. In that time, the image becomes gentle. It loses its sharp edges. The raging storms become soft bands of colour. The screaming winds become silent stripes. The crashing, grinding rings become a still, perfect circle of light. Saturn's rings are its most famous feature. They look like a solid, graceful halo, a delicate, paper-thin disk that encircles the planet. From millions of miles away, they seem smooth and unbroken. But this is another illusion. The rings are not solid at all. They are made of billions upon billions of individual pieces, chunks of water ice, bits of rock. These pieces range in size. Some are as small as a grain of sugar. Others are as large as a mountain. And they are all moving. They're all orbiting Saturn at incredible speeds, like tiny moons in a crowded, chaotic highway in the sky. This is not a gentle dance. It is a constant, violent collision, a cosmic blender that has been running for millions of years. The pieces of ice and rock smash into each other relentlessly. They grind against one another. They shatter into smaller bits. They clump together to form temporary new objects, only to be torn apart again moments later. If you were floating among them, you would be in a hailstorm of frozen bullets. A piece of ice the size of a car, traveling at thousands of miles per hour, would pass by you in a blur. The rings are a battlefield, a place of endless high-speed impacts that generate dust, debris, chaos. The structure of the rings tells a story of this violence. They are not one single ring, but thousands of smaller ringlets. They are separated by gaps. These gaps are carved out by the gravity of Saturn's many moons. The moons act like celestial shepherds. This constant pulling and pushing creates waves in the rings. Waves can ripple for thousands of miles. In places, the main rings are only about 30 feet thick, a sheet of paper the size of a city, leaving no room to hide. On Earth, we know the power of wind. A strong hurricane can have winds of 150 miles per hour. It can tear homes from their foundations. It can throw cars around like toys. We fear and respect this power. Now, try to imagine a wind that is 10 times stronger. On Saturn, at its equator, the winds can reach speeds of over 1,100 miles per hour. This is faster than the speed of sound on Earth. It is a wind so powerful that it defies our earthly comparisons. A constant screaming jet stream that circles the entire planet without ever stopping. It is a force that would rip any spacecraft. It is a force that would rip any human to shreds instantly. Saturn is striped with bands of pale yellow and gold. These bands are not just colours. They are massive channels of wind, blowing in opposite directions. Where these bands meet, there is unimaginable turbulence. Giant vortices, like cosmic whirlpools in the sky. These zones of shear generate incredible energy. The calm, striped pattern is a map of a planet tearing itself apart with wind. Unlike Earth, the Sun is too far to drive such fury. Instead, energy comes from within. Saturn radiates more than twice the energy it receives. Internal heat churns the deep atmosphere, rises up and drives the colossal wind patterns we see. It is a planet with its own engine. Imagine flying a kite in a wind faster than a fighter jet. The string would snap. The kite would be vaporized. Now imagine your body in that wind. There would be nothing left. The winds of Saturn are not just weather. They are a fundamental destructive force that defines its character. See the tracks of a monster, evidence of winds that belong in a nightmare. If the winds are the constant scream of Saturn, then its storms are the sudden, violent roar. Deep within the atmosphere, massive storms are born, far larger and more powerful than anything on Earth. One of the most famous is the Great White Spot. Appearing roughly once every 30 years, it begins as a small bright point, then grows, expanding with terrifying speed, wrapping around the entire planet in months. A single storm on Saturn can become wider than the entire planet Earth. They are enormous thunderstorms, churning up material from deep inside, bringing water vapor and other exotic materials to the upper clouds. The Cassini spacecraft flew over one of these storms. It detected a spike in temperature and a weather system so powerful it heated the atmosphere above it. It was changing the climate of the planet on a global scale. A monster woken from its slumber deep below. It raged for months. The storm's head moved rapidly. Its vast tail was slowly shredded by Saturn's jet streams, a planetary battle. Eventually it faded, its energy spent, leaving behind a changed and scarred atmosphere that took years to settle. These storms are planetary convulsions, expressions of immense heat and pressure trapped within, a fury that erupts and tears the face of the planet apart. Inside these colossal storms, another terrifying phenomenon occurs. Lightning. But this is not the lightning we know on Earth. The lightning on Saturn is on a completely different scale. A single bolt can be over 1,000 times more powerful than a typical bolt on our planet. These are catastrophic releases of energy. They generate strong radio waves our spacecraft can detect from thousands of miles away. Born deep within Saturn's water clouds, many miles below the hazy tops. In crushing darkness, electrical charges build under immense pressure. When released, they flash and illuminate clouds for miles. Cassini captured bright spots the size of a large earthly city suddenly lighting the night side. Each flash proves extreme electrical energy. Imagine the sound, thunder amplified 1,000-fold in a denser atmosphere. Deafening, a physical blow. You wouldn't hear it in space. Inside the atmosphere, it would be the last thing you ever heard. These storms are electrically charged engines of destruction. Bolts breaking molecules, triggering reactions, perhaps forming complex organics. Beneath Saturn's calm exterior lies a constant raging electrical storm that makes our mightiest thunderstorms look like a candle flicker. Section 6. The invisible shield of radiation. Beyond the winds, the storms, the lightning, Saturn possesses another, more insidious danger. Something you cannot see, hear, or touch, but it is deadly. This is the planet's magnetic field and the radiation it traps. Like Earth, Saturn's field is generated deep within, but it is immense, nearly 600 times more powerful, extending hundreds of thousands of miles. The magnetosphere is not a safe shield. It is a trap for the solar wind's charged particles. Caught and forced to spiral, they accumulate into intense radiation belts, far larger and in places far more dangerous than ours. An invisible sea of high-energy particles, deadly to humans and machines. Exposure would shred DNA and cause severe radiation sickness within minutes. Cassini flew with hardened electronics, carefully shielded, its path designed to minimize time in the worst belts. This invisible danger bathes inner moons like Mimas and Enceladus, sandblasting surfaces and altering ice chemistry. A silent planetary violence. Section 7. A tale of two temperatures. The cold and the fire within. Saturn's personality is split. Being so far from the sun, the tops of its clouds are brutally cold. About -288 Fahrenheit, -178 Celsius. A frigid frontier. Ammonia clouds frozen into ice, the cold, calm face Saturn shows to the universe. Beneath this frozen veneer, pressure and temperature rise dramatically in a world with no solid surface. Gas growing denser, then liquid. Thousands of miles down, hydrogen is squeezed into liquid metal. At the center, a small rocky core may burn at over 21,000 Fahrenheit, hotter than the sun's surface. This internal heat is the engine of Saturn's violence, powering 1,100-mile-per-hour winds and continent-sized storms. The contrast between cold exterior and fiery interior creates permanent instability. The serene face is the thinnest layer, where the inferno meets deep space. When we look at Saturn, we see the frost on the window of a furnace, the deceptively calm surface of a boiling, raging ocean of gas tens of thousands of miles deep. Section 8. The wild children of Saturn, its violent moons. A planet this violent breeds a chaotic family. Saturn has over 140 known moons, not quiet worlds like ours, but strange, active, and often violent places. Consider Enceladus, a snow-white globe hiding a global ocean beneath its shell, and it is not quiet. Cryovolcanoes at the South Polar fractures spew water vapor and ice, replenishing Saturn's E-ring, tearing itself apart to feed its parent. Then there is Titan, swathed in thick orange haze, the only moon with a dense atmosphere. It rains liquid methane, carving rivers, lakes and seas in a cold, dark alien world. Saturn's radiation belts interact with Titan's atmosphere, driving complex, perhaps toxic, chemistry. Mimas bears a crater scar from an impact that nearly shattered it. Iapetus shows one face bright as snow, the other dark as tar. Dust splattered from elsewhere. These moons are battered, active, and strange, caught in the gravitational and radioactive crossfire of their giant, violent parent. A grand and terrible beauty. Why do we see Saturn as peaceful? We see it from the safety of Earth, more than 700 million miles away. At that distance, all the violence, all the chaos melts away. The billions of crashing ice chunks blur into a single shimmering line of light. Our perspective is a trick, a beautiful lie told by the immense emptiness of space. Probes like Cassini journeyed close, peered through the haze, measured the fury, tasted Enceladus's spray, endured the radiation. Cassini's final act was to plunge into Saturn's atmosphere, sending data until pressure and heat tore it apart. It died, showing us the truth. Imagine you are there, floating near the rings. A storm the size of a continent rages below. A bolt of lightning, 1,000 times stronger than any on Earth, illuminates the dark. Building-sized ice hurls past at unimaginable speeds. You feel Saturn's heavy pull, a force that wants to tear your ship to pieces. In that moment, you feel two things: overwhelming beauty and overwhelming fear.